Alright, welcome everybody to a video where you're going to see me and Mark talk about our picks for the top commons, uncommons, and rares for Ninja Turtles Limited. This is the second part of our set primer. If you haven't seen the first part where we talk about our overall thoughts on the set and the archetypes, go check that out first. That video is in the playlist for this video. We did grade these cards beforehand, so we have a tier list. We're going to release that, so if you want to see our grades and just where everything sits, feel free. You know, we're going to post that for sure. But for actually just talking through the cards, we're not going to give them grades. We're just going to talk about the cards that stand out to us. We'll talk through exactly how good they are, but just wanted to put that out there that this is going to be a grade list set primer for going forward.
I'm looking forward to this. So the way we've decided to do this, I say we, I mean, the way I proposed this that Alex agreed to, I don't hold any power over him, but thankfully he agreed to this.
Mark's the puppet master of limited level ups. He's the shadow ruler for years now.
I just thought that we could kind of try to give people, if we were going to do just a snapshot of the format and not kind of go through every single card text on every single card, we should just focus on the cards that matter. So Absolutely. We have lists for top commons of each color that we're going to go through from like best, what we think are the best downwards. We have two different types of uncommons, which we're going to get to. So two lists for uncommons, because I think play boosters really do emphasize the importance of uncommons. And we're going to go through some of the higher rarity cards as well. So I'm personally looking forward to this. And I think kind of leading into this, when we're talking about our top commons, I thought it'd be nice to just peel back the curtain a little bit and talk about what is it we look for when trying to spot a top common. So I don't know if you want to take the floor first on this, Alex, but when you kind of open up a set for the first time or you're going through spoilers, what are the things you look for that kind of stand out to you as you think, oh, this card is actually going to matter?
Yeah, for sure. So I think I usually start from a very ground up approach. You know, I don't immediately jump to, oh, what synergies work and what's supported, what's not. The baseline for my card evaluation is, in a vacuum, where should I start with this card? Like, how much should I even entertain it to begin with? Forget about synergies. So I'm looking at how much power and toughness I'm getting for my mana cost. You know, the tried and true vanilla test, where it's like, okay, for 4 mana, I'm hoping to get 8 power worth of power and toughness somewhere. I'm looking for an enter the battlefield effect. You know, those tend to be good, even if it's minor. Those tend to be pretty nice. I'm looking for efficiency. Cheap cards are great. If you can have a deck full of awesome cheap cards, that's a great place to be. And I'm also looking for, on my expensive cards, to the same merit, like exceptionality. I really, really want my 4s and 5s and 6s to be excellent, because you only have so much room for those kind of cards.
I would even add to that in that the like 2 times mana cost for combined power of toughness it's like the bare minimum for playability, even because we've seen cards that are like 2 3s for 2 that exceed the vanilla test, right? Like that's 5 total power toughness for 2 mana that are still just like fine, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need, like it's if the card is understated, it's kind of a non-starter, or at least it like really, really needs to do something exceptional. So I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, on creatures, I almost certain like the best creature in a set is almost always these days, I think, gonna have some type of enter the battlefield effect.
Yeah.
Just because like that's just the world we live in now, where rectangles matter and you need to get something out of it. And then what you're looking for at that point, I think there's 2 groups. There's like the minor benefit ones where it's combining vanilla test plus a bonus. So that could be like vanilla test plus a mutagen token, vanilla test plus a 1/1 token, plus a scry 2, plus 2 extra life or whatever. Like just a little something
just a nudge
to turn your 2/3 Drake into Glider Kids. That actually was like a reasonable card, right? Just adding that Surveil 1 makes the difference enough to be like, yeah, that's all this card needed to go from filler to like reasonably happy to play. The other side you're looking for are cards with ETBs that are literally giving you an extra card's worth. So when you look at something like Spirited Companion, Virus Beetle, that kind of thing, or like a creature stable to a removal spell, you can accept a very small body for your mana cost on that kind of thing because
Yes.
you are getting basically a spell stapled on to whatever your creature is.
It's almost like a spell with a little bit of a creature upside rather than the other way around, right? You're
Yeah.
like, okay, cool spell. Oh, and I get a little bit a body. And even a 1/1 body on an effect worth an entire card is better than it seems. Think like Mark said, Virus Beetle, the Elvish Visionary, Spirit Companion, those 2 drops that are 1/1s and draw a card. Explosive Prodigy from Lorwyn, I think, is a pretty good example. That was more of a removal spell, and you got a 1/1 body that you could do things with. And then when it comes to removal, for 3 mana for your removal spell, you're generally looking for that to be unconditional, right? Just like kill anything, a murder variant, or maybe it's even a. Sometimes we get red burn spells that are basically kill anything, like 3 mana deal 5. For 4 mana, once you get to 4 mana and above, you need upside. It needs to be unconditional, and you need some upside on it. So gaining a little bit of life. Maybe you get, in this set, a mutagen token. Maybe you get a permanent that gets left on the battlefield that you can use for something else. Either unconditional and adding something, or if it's not unconditional, that bonus that you get has to be exceptional, like close to draw a card, basically. And then when you get to the cheaper stuff, so 1 and 2 mana removal spells, what are you looking for there, Mark?
So, well, if you're expecting 3 mana unconditional, if it's still unconditional, you can accept some amount of downside for 2 or 1 mana. I mean, we've seen Bone Splinters, Bone Shards, pacifism type effects often be playable to pretty good. Or your 2 mana cheap, if your 2 to 1 mana removal spell is only dealing with small things, then it can have so either be a good card or have some kind of upside. And maybe a card like, Savor from Bloomburrow, -2/-2, make a food token. Just getting that little something extra on your cheap spell can, of course, bump the letter grade up there as well.
Yeah. And, we've been talking about just in a vacuum, really the first thing we're looking at when we're evaluating a set. Of course, set context matters a ton. There are some cards that almost direct reprints in one set versus another, and, one ends up being a B-, one ends up being a C- in the other set. So absolutely it matters. This is just, I think, the building blocks to understanding the full set. Just you really want to make sure you've got your baseline card evaluation, your fundamental card evaluations right, then you can build up on top of that.
Yeah, and the set context for this could be, for Lorwyn, it could be, what is its creature type? For this set, it could be, is it also an artifact? For this set, it could be, is it a good blocker to prevent sneak? Is it an evasive attacker to help enable sneak? So those things will create slight shifts, but those are still going to be less important than adding on either another point of toughness or another ability, adding vigilance or whatever. Like, the raw stats are still going to be the most important thing.
So let's get into talking about the actual cards here. So like Mark said, our first list is the commons. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk about top 3 uncommons, just at least in our initial takes. Mark and I did this separately. We made our list separately, and we're actually pretty aligned, to be honest. When there is a difference, we will mention it and talk about it. But we're just going to start with, commons 1 to 3 of each color, and we'll start with white here. So our first card, what we're deeming the best white common, is Uneasy Alliance. This is 1 and a white for an aura enchantment. It says the enchanted creature can't attack or block, and you can pay 5 mana, sack this aura, exile the enchanted creature, and you make a 1/1 black ninja token. Activate that only as a sorcery. And this is a functional reprint of the same variant from Avatar. I think it was called Path to Redemption. So we've seen this kind of card before. It's pretty darn solid. It's not amazing, and that maybe even speaks to White's commons. What do you think about this, Mark?
We both rank this as our top white common. I agree, though. It's, we're not going to use a ton of grades, but I don't think this makes it anywhere into the B range, just to kind of, give it some context. But removing a blocker is pretty important when you're trying to enable like a snowball mechanic like sneak. So I think this is going to be pretty good, and you're going to be happy to play probably multiple of these in your white decks.
Yep. Our number 2 common here, April O'Neil, Kunoichi Trainer, which is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature at common. So again, this is one of the common legends. She is a ninja. When she enters, you scry 2. And April can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. So actually a really nice example of what we were talking about. You know, it's a 2-mana 2/2, a little bit of an enter the battlefield effect. Scry 2 is all you need to make your 2-mana 2/2 something we like. And plays well with the sneak ninja theme.
We also both rank this number 2. I could see this being number 1. Like, this card's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the perfect card for sneaking, because it's not only got evasion, but like if you rebuy that Scry 2 on this, it's going to be great.
Yep.
You probably don't want to play, like, I'm guessing the first 2 you'll be pretty happy with. Maybe the third one, because you can scry away more of them. But I wouldn't go beyond that with a legendary common.
Yeah, I'm glad you called that out, because that's a question that comes up all the time. Like, how many legends are you willing to play? Like Mark said, 2 is pretty comfortable. I might play a third of my legend if it was like just an excellent legend. You're like, oh yeah, just this, you know, the best uncommon in the set or whatever it is. And then for number 3, here's where we actually diverged a little bit. So Mark's is Action News Crew. This is 1 and a white for a 2/2. It has Vigilance, and it has the Channel ability, which means you can discard it from your hand for an ability. 6, discard this card. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and draw a card. So, what do you think about this one, Mark?
I don't feel strongly about this. Like, I'm pretty confident in my top 2. The third one could have been a number of cards, so I'm not gonna, berate you for picking something different from me here. I'll explain why I chose this, and when you do your card, I'll explain why I didn't choose yours. But this one, again, just pretty good 2-drop, and then also relevant in the late game. Like, anytime your 2-drop can be a good draw on turn 2 and on turn 6, that's a card I'm reasonably interested in.
Yeah, and my take for the third best common, white common, is Grounded for Life. This is the 4 and a white instant, destroy target creature, but it costs 3 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature. So it's a variant of a removal spell we see quite a bit, and I really like this template. It's one that I was kind of skeptical about when they first printed it, but every single time we've seen it, it's been pretty good. Just like 5 mana kill anything, 2 mana kill a tap thing. So what don't you like about it?
So, well, Ride's End was the poster child for this. That was an exile, I believe.
It was.
So it's not quite there, but the real thing that was holding me back from this is that both of the supported white decks in white, black, and white, red seem to be quite aggressive. So I think you're more likely to be the one attacking, and then spending, 5 mana on your kill spell is not something I'm that excited about.
Yeah, fair. I agree with those thoughts generally. I think in this set, though, basically all of the archetypes, maybe save for black-green, is also fairly proactive. Like, they're going to be attacking you back. Like, I think this set is very much an on-the-board, tempo-centric kind of set, and so I even though you're right, I dislike these cards in aggressive decks most of the time. If I always was going to face a similarly aggressive deck or proactive mid-range deck, my worries get lessened a little bit. So, that's my reasoning there.
I'll push back on that a little bit, just because I think if you're playing blue-red or blue-green, for example, and you're against a white deck, like, even if you are slightly aggressive, the threat of them sneaking something on you is going to have those decks leaving blockers back more than they might normally.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, to be determined. Again, I said I wouldn't berate you too much on this. I think this is a totally reasonable pick. I think this will be a good card, but yeah, not anywhere near like a top common level for me. Or for you, I don't think either.
Yeah, I agree. Moving to blue. First, number 1, blue common here for both of us. Return to the Sewers. This is 3 and a blue for an instant. Target creature's owner puts it on their choice of the top or bottom of their library, and you create a mutagen token. So these top or bottom removal spells are always, they range from like fine to actively good, and usually the actively good ones give you something, give you a token, give you a little extra bonus, and I think a mutagen token is a pretty nice bonus.
It's also that, like, there's a couple cards where having an instant speed artifact enter could matter as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, synergistic as well.
We both gave this our number 1 blue common spot, and I could see this being one of the, like, B- minus level cards for the set, because this card is very strong to me.
Yes, I agree. Number 2 is Donatello Turtle Techie. So this is 3 and a blue for a 3/4 legendary Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. When it enters, if you control an artifact, you draw a card. So pretty good in both the blue decks. Obviously, blue-red is the artifact deck, but even in blue-green with the mutagen tokens, I think you're going to be able to enable that there too.
So this was our number 2 and 3 are the same but reversed for blue. So this
Mhm.
was my 2 and your 3, and the next card will be my 3 and your 2. Yeah, I think this card's really another legend. So got to be careful. But there are enough ways to enable this with 2 and 3 drops that if you can cast this on turn 4 and draw a card pretty reliably, you're going to be extremely happy with it.
And it's got even if you have 5 of them, it's got the buyout of 4 mana cycle. Isn't that super appealing, Mark? Don't you want to cycle your 4 drops for 4 mana?
I mean, you're saying that jokingly, but I'm guessing it'll happen at least once.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree. And then number 3 here. So like Mark said, I had this at 2. He had it at 3. Mind Transfer Protocol. This is 2 and a blue for an instant. Until end of turn, target artifact or creature becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/5, and you draw a card. We saw this card in Neon Dynasty, in Neo, and a lot of similar things happening in that set as this set, where we've got ninjas, we've got an artifact theme. That card, if you didn't play that set, was very, very good. It makes it very difficult to engage in combat if you think your opponent might have this card. Waking up a token, turning it into a 4/5 for the turn, eating a blocker, drawing a card. A lot of good stuff to say about this one.
Yeah, the Neo one only hit creatures or vehicles, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that. Okay. Well, even better.
I played a lot of Neo, so I'm pretty sure about that. But so this one, you can target your mutagens or your food or whatever makes a difference. I would have had this higher if blue was one of the sneak colors. I just see as blue being a little bit more like control-y. We just saw a couple of 4 drops at common that we're both excited about. So not really like super aggressive and leaning off from 2s. Should be a good card. And again, if you can play this in blue, white, or blue, black, this is going to be like really, really good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a little bit less, almost a little bit less of a combat trick, even though it has, shades of that. It's more just like a card advantage card that gives you onboard advantage, right? You eat a creature in combat, you draw a card. That's a 2-for-1. And not, most combat tricks can't net you a 2-for-1. Next up, we've got the black cards. So, number 1, anchovy and banana pizza. First on the long list of disgusting pizza cards. This is 4 black for an artifact food at common. When it enters, destroy target creature, and it's got the food text. So you can pay 2, tap it, and sack it, gain 3 life.
This is not gaining anybody life. Like that like...
It's got a dead rat right next to it, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, the grossness aside, like visual abhorrence. This is really hate the art, the flavor, both figurative and literally. But the card text is pretty good.
It is.
So we both gave it number 1. There are a couple things that either let you tutor food or like rebuy artifacts, and then also just leaving an artifact on the battlefield helps for some other cards as well. So unconditional removal with some upside, even though it's sorcery speed. I think this card's really good.
Same here, yeah. Number 2 is Stomped by the Foot, a lot of people's dream. This is 1 and a black for an instant. Kicker, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and if it was kicked, that creature gets -5/-5 instead. And this is a card we've seen quite a bit, and it always performs quite well.
Most versions recently, I think, have been -6, aside from original Dominaria when it was
fair.
5.
Yep.
But a lot of the time, it's based on, are there things on turn 2 you want to kill with 2 toughness? I think in this set, especially with Sneak, the answer is yes. And then, are there things to sacrifice where you don't really care about kicking it? And the answer, I think, again, is yes, right? There's food tokens, there's mutagen tokens. I think this is going to be pretty easy to enable, and another hallmark of a very strong common.
And then our number 3 common here is Oroku Saki, Shredder Rising, which is 2 and a black for a 3/1 legendary ninja. It has Sneak for 1 and a black, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose a life. So it kind of just seems like bread and butter good Sneak common that you're happy to play.
And we were actually 3 for 3 on black, so we both ranked 1, 2, 3 all the exact same. Again, legendary, so you really do need to be careful. Like, I think it's a little easier to spot on the namesake Ninja Turtles, right? Like, obviously, Michelangelo reads as a legendary character, and I think it's easier to internalize that. Might be a little bit harder to do with this. There's also not a lot of one drops to really make you live the dream here. So there's like one black common, one white uncommon, and one black uncommon, and one blue uncommon, just kind of thinking of things. And then a couple rares too. So it's certainly not going to be as easy as you had like Network Disruptor in Neon Dynasty. You had City Pigeon at common in Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's going to be harder to get your sneak in this set for sure.
City Pigeon in Spider-Man, but there also is a pigeon-ish card in the set too.
But it's not common though.
Oh, it's not common. That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like
I got
there's some support for it, but it's harder to find them.
Moving on to red now, we've got a really nice red common removal spell, Manhole Missile, which is 1 in a red for an instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature, and you can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. So if you play Lorwyn, it's just Tweeze. Can't go to face, but a whole mana cheaper. I think that's a very good exchange.
There has been 2 mana versions of this though.
There has, yeah. We've seen this card before, and it's been good. I'm just making a recent comparison. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And the 2 mana versions are. I mean, Tweeze was okay. The 2 mana versions are always top comments. Like just removal plus selection on a 2-drop is great. So yeah, not much more to say here.
Yes, this one is sneaking into the B range if we were to be grading every card.
Yeah, and we also both put it number 1 for red.
Second red common, Mouser Foundry, 1 in a red for an artifact. When it enters or leaves the battlefield, you make a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. And you can pay 4 in a red to sack this artifact, deal 3 damage to target creature. And of course, in the process, you get a 1/1 token along. Cool card. Nice little common design. And, you know, it's not the awesomest 2-drop to play on 2, but gives you a body, gives you something that you can sacrifice for value, gives you a clunky but fine removal spell to cast later.
3 artifact enter triggers potentially.
Yeah, for those cards
like
that matter.
One of them sticky for for Donatello, the blue 4-drop. Like even if you trade off your creature, you still have a trinkets lying around. Yeah, we both put this number 2. It seems like a really good role player.
And then for number 3, we did have different cards. So Mark's is Null Group Biological Assets, which is 2 in a red for a 3/1. It's a mutant. During your turn, it has first strike, and whenever this creature attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Yeah, nice.
I'm not that strong feeling about this. Like the top 2, I think we both agreed with pretty strongly. This one, it's a little bit homeless. Like it's not really helping the blue-red artifacts theme. It's not really multiple triggers for alliance or anything like that. But it just seems annoying to me. Like it's just really hard to block this thing, and then you can filter your hand along the way. So I don't know. I can see this thing being pretty good.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think very annoying, does good things. Like repetitive filtering is always a good thing. The other common, the one that I chose for my number 3, is Raphael Tough Turtle. 1 in a red for a 1/3 legendary Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, or just, Mutant Ninja Turtle. Has Alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, Raphael deals 1 damage to target opponent. So, kind of similar to that card from Tarkir. Doesn't have reach and is a legend, but it's a common as a kind of a trade-off.
And there's a lot of things that make multiple bodies in this set.
Yeah. Yeah, like this, the damage adds up from this thing. It's not the most aggressive kill you right away common 2-drop, but it's, like, if it just sits there, your opponent's at 10, they probably have to kill this unless they just think, okay, I can kill my opponent in 2 turns. Like, this thing will kill you pretty quickly.
This is one legend that does not have a way to... It would be great if you could have multiple of these out.
Yes. Although I guess it does deal 2 damage on the second copy. Watch out for that, right? Like, if you actually need if you got a second copy, Raphael and Raphael, they'll see each other, so...
Well, no. It's only going to be... Only the original one will trigger.
Is that true? I don't think
it says whenever another creature enters.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay, yes. Another matters. Okay. Duh. You're right. So there's absolutely no buyout.
Yeah, I totally fine with you putting it on the list. I think it'll be solid as well. And I mean, it is kind of a removal magnet in a way to help dealing with multiple of them too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the letting me put it on the list. That brings us to our green commons. Number 1 is Frog Butler. This is 1 and a green for a 1/1 Death Touch. Tap to add a mana of any color, and you can pay 2 mana to have this creature gain reach until end of turn. And this is my favorite, like, a lot of things going on with this mana dork, my favorite kind of mana dork. One, it adds a mana of any color. That's big over adding just green, for example. Two, Death Touch means once you've cast your hand of cards, you've run out of things to do, it's still a relevant body. Two things your mana dork, you really appreciate those things on it.
I would go so far as to add a third one in that if you look at the card file, at least at common, there's not a ton of 3s you want to play, and there's a ton of 4s.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
So I really like the Frog Butler. We actually saw, was it in LCI, the reverse of this? The one that had reach and you could pay 2 to give it Death Touch?
Oh, with the Tree Frog, yeah.
And this is way better. Like, it's just so much better like this.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, giving the natural Death Touch is a lot better. Number 2 here, another disgusting card. This is Guac and Marshmallow Pizza. Single green mana for a artifact food. Has flash. When it enters, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You untap it, and you can pay 2 and tap sack to gain 3 life, like a food. So kind of maybe might look like a weird card to be in our top uncommon list, but I think this card is quite good.
I agree. We actually had consensus for green as well on top 3, so exact same 1, 2, 3. And this is the type of card that, again, might surprise some people, but already as just a 1 mana combat trick, we've seen this card be perfectly playable.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the context of adding a little bit more, you add that extra food, which is not only a rectangle, not only an artifact, not only a life gain, but potentially tutorable and something you can rebuy. There's a lot of things that add up to make me quite happy to probably play multiple copies of this in most green decks.
Yeah, just imagine being in any sort of race with the opponent. You draw this card and you're like, oh, that was so good. Because now you get to win a combat for cheap. Probably get to play another card that turn. And then you have this gain 3 sitting around the battlefield. That changes the combat math so much. So, yeah, it's probably not a card you can play infinite of. But I think the first and second copy are going to be pretty good. Then number 3, we've got Primordial Pachyderm, which is 3 and a green for a 4/4. Has reach, trample, and when it enters, you gain 2 life. So this is like poster child for exactly what we were talking about. 4 mana, 4/4. Okay, that's good. Some solid keyword abilities, and a little bit of an enter the battlefield effect. It's not a huge one, but doesn't need to be huge because it's well statted and has good ability words.
If there's one thing holding this back, it will be the prevalence of 4-drops. Like, there's a lot of competition in the 4-drop slot.
Mm-hmm.
The good news for green, I mean, we haven't really talked about card strength or anything. I think white's commons are a little weak, but makes up for it in the rares that we're going to get to later. Green, to me, has the best commons, and there are multiple other commons that I think matter that, like, you could have included on this list that I would have been happy to play as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we also did a other section. We've done all 5 colors here. And there's hybrid cards in the set. There are some colorless cards that we could have pulled from. But we do have 3 cards that are other. They're all actually hybrid cards. So the first one here is Mechanized Ninja Cavalry. This is 1 in a Boros hybrid for an artifact creature robot ninja. It's a 1/1. And when it enters, it makes a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. So 2 artifacts for the artifact deck, 2 creatures for the alliance deck. Not really a lot to say about it.
Well, and also 2 attackers for the white-black sneak deck.
Sure, yeah. Makes it more likely that one of them gets in.
And this just seems like this is your gluiest common in the set where 60% of drafters are going to want, as many copies of these as they can get. I think this card's really nice.
Yep, I agree. And by the way, I think this is, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think this frame is actually new. I don't think we've had hybrid artifact creatures before. Maybe we have, but this is just like, it just sticks out to me as like, oh, that's kind of a frame we don't see very often. Next up, we've got Nobody. It's just called Nobody. It says 1, is it hybrid for a 3/2 artifact creature. When it enters, return up to 1 other target artifact you control to its owner's hand, and you scry 1. So this is a little bit more of a synergy card, for sure. This is going to be only for the artifact deck, I would say, and that's implied with the mana cost. You don't want to have a 1 blue card in a deck that's hard to cast. You're trying to make that colorless generally. But there are some pretty good artifacts to pick up. We've saw some food that are good to pick up, and maybe that is, getting into some other kind of color combinations. But even just picking up that last common we saw, picking up your 1/1, making another 1/1 later. Some good stuff going on here.
Yeah, and so interestingly, we both ranked Mechanized Ninja Cavalry number one. We both ranked Nobody number three. So we actually had different twos that we're going to get to on the next slide. So we both think this is a top common. I agree. Like, we've seen some blue things to pick up. We've seen some red things to pick up. There's like the black and green pizzas that can be picked up as well. And even if you're not, like, this is just a Chrome companion, right? A 3/2 Scry 1 if you're not picking anything up, which is still
Yeah.
totally fine.
Totally. And then for our last cards here, two different ones. Mark's pick is Slither Encrypted, which is 2 in a Simic hybrid for a 2/3 mutant. When it enters, you make a mutagen token. Not a lot to dislike.
Yeah, this was my number two. It also seems kind of gluey to me, and that, again, just the mutagens and the artifact and the ETB and the fact that there's not a lot of 3-drops, I think gives this a bit of a bump. So I'm pretty happy to play this in most blue or green decks, regardless of needing to be blue-green. But I was not really looking at the card you mentioned, so why don't we go to that one? Because that one I think is worth talking about a bit.
Yeah, so my pick was Ice Cream Kitty. This is 1 in a Golgari hybrid for a 1/3 artifact creature food, cat mutant. It's a lot of words. 2, you can pay 2 to sacrifice another creature or token, draw a card. Activate this only as a sorcery. You can also, has the food text, so you can sack it for 3 life. So, yeah, I kind of just like this card. Like, it's a fine blocker early. It's your turning your mutagen tokens into draw a card, like basically turning them into clues is kind of nice, right? Because all the mutagen token cards are costed, like you get more stats per mana cost than you would on a clue card, for example. Because generally a counter is a little bit less good than a card, and so you play your mutagen cards, you get all these mutagen tokens, get to cash those in for cards. That seems pretty good. Also, there are just the food artifacts lying around, like the pizzas that we just talked about, sacking those to draw a card, like turning your 4 mana anchovy pizza or whatever it was called, the black removal spell, into kill a thing, sack it to draw a card. Like, that seems really good to me. And then, later in the game, you can like block with this, sacrifice it, gain 3 life. I don't know, just a lot going on.
I'm afraid that's a paper-only play, Alex.
Which one?
Sacrificing your food to draw a card.
Oh, wait. What's wrong? Wait, am I just completely wrong with the sacrifice another creature or token? Wait, what am I wrong about?
It sacrifices your, like, if you're making a food token off of Pizza Face, you can sacrifice that.
Uh-huh.
But you cannot sacrifice your anchovy and banana pizza or...
Oh, sure. Yeah, my
pizza.
bad. Sorry, I thought I couldn't sack my mutagen tokens. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's not just sack an artifact. I'm wrong about that. In any case, the other points stand.
Yes, yeah, no. So I was pretty low on this in my initial tier list, and then when I saw it being your number 2, I kind of thought about it more and bumped it up. Still don't know if I'm as high as you on it, but again, I talked about liking cards that are relevant as 2-drops and relevant in the late game, and this checks the boxes. It's also a food and can be tutored by one of the uncommons too, so there's an extra upside there.
Okay, so that's going to do it for our top common list. Now we're going to move on to our next list, which we're calling Power Uncommons. So this is a top 10 list of generically powerful cards. There are some cards on our list after this one, which is our synergy uncommons or uncommons, synergy uncommons, or uncommons that give you direction, where it's like, oh, if you're in this deck, this card's going to be awesome. But this first list here of power uncommons is just like, this card is great. Maybe there's some synergy too, but you're just happy taking this card early.
I thought it was worth doing 2 different types of uncommons. Partly, again, we're going to try and sprinkle in a little level up here. You really do start your draft on more often one end of these 2 extremes, where you're either picking just a generically good card that'll go in any deck, or you're picking a card that'll influence your later picks in the draft. And this is especially apparent with uncommons, where the cards that I like starting a draft with most are the power uncommons, where you're just like, I've got a white card, no matter what white deck I end up in, this is going to be a good card for me.
Yeah.
The ceiling on those is still going to be pretty high, but might not be as high as a synergy based uncommon, where if you have like the perfect deck to support that type of synergy, the ceiling might be potentially somewhere in the A range, but more often than not, that's not reflective of being in every deck of that color. It's more likely just going to be in one deck of that color. So by splitting these up, we're first giving you the list of cards that if you see these in your pre-release, play them in that deck. If you see
Exactly.
them in a draft, you're pretty safe just like picking them and throwing them into the deck and just being happy with that. And then later on, when we do the second list of uncommons, we're going to talk more about, okay, well, this is going to lead you down this road and might kind of influence you to say, like, if you have a close pick in the future, you might want to take the card that synergizes with the uncommon that you first picked earlier in the draft. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to go into this list here. We've again both made a combined top 10 across all colors. And so because it's a bigger list across a bigger range, we have a few more disagreements that we'll kind of hash out as we go along the way as well.
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't call this out for the previous list, but we're choosing to do this 1 to 10, which is like the best card first, and then going to the less good cards. Do let us know though, because I'm curious about this. If you would prefer it to be like a countdown style list, because I initially was planning to do that. Mark kind of suggested doing it this way, and I'm honestly not sure which one is better. So just for the future, let us know. Okay, first uncommon here. Really juiced uncommons, by the way. There's some bangers here. Mighty Mutanimals is our number one. This is 2 white for a 2/1 mutant at uncommon. When it enters, you create a 2/2 red mutant creature token and has alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Holy crap. This is so much for your 4 mana. So you're getting 5/4 worth of stats over 2 bodies immediately. You also can put that counter that, say you on turn 4 play this, you could just put that counter that you get from the 2/2 entering on your 3-drop or 2-drop, so that has a better attack. And then this thing just sits around, and if your opponent doesn't kill it, it just keeps giving you more counters. Seems busted.
Well, also, like, if you go into combat and like this gives you multiple attackers, so if you now get in the position where you have more attackers than they have blockers, you're now threatening to sneak and like
Oh
throw
god.
counters around things in the middle of combat.
I
Like
didn't even consider sneak. Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah, we both have our number one and our number two as the same cards, but reversed. So this is my one and your two. The next card is your one and my two. But this is like approach. Don't be fooled by the word alliance on this and thinking that it's a red white card. This is a power uncommon.
Yes, and also don't be fooled by the uncommon symbol. Like, I think this is closer to going to play out as like a pretty good rare. So, number 2, and yeah, this was my number 1, although honestly, I might switch with you as well, come to your side. We got Metalhead, which is 4 and a blue for a 4/4 legendary artifact creature. It's a turtle robot. When it enters, return up to 1 other target artifact or creature to its owner's hand. You can also pay red, sacrifice another artifact. Metalhead gets put a +1/+1 counter on Metalhead. He gains menace and haste until end of turn. Like, I saw this card. I was like, yeah, the designers basically said, like, these Manowar bounce a creature, your opponent's hand creatures, they're not good enough. They haven't been top uncommons for the past few sets. We need to make it a little bit better. So, like, you're getting 5 mana 4/4, bounce a thing. That's great. We saw that in Aether Drift with the turtle shell, the blue shell. And then an additional bonus ability of just turning Metalhead into a great threat.
Another one where you might be fooled into thinking, oh, this is a blue-red card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this card, part of the reason we put this in the power list, if you can activate the red card, this thing's busted. But if you are just playing this in blue-green or blue-white or blue-black or whatever, still happy to first pick it in pack 3. Like, still going to be great. Swings the board, does everything that this kind of card wants you to do, and is an artifact to boot.
Yep, exactly. Number 3 on our list here is Dimensional Exile. This is 1 and a white for an aura. It enchants a basic land you control, and when this aura enters, exile target creature an opponent controls until this aura leaves the battlefield. So just extremely efficient catch-all removal spell.
Yeah, this was my number 3 and your number 4. Just extremely efficient unconditional removal for 2 mana. Happy to play it in any deck.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty likely to stick too. Like there isn't a lot of incidental enchantment hate running around. There's just like not a lot of room for it on this set. So yeah, it's gonna be a mostly just kill your thing for good. Next up, number 4 is Lita, Little Orphan Amphibian, which is 1 in a white for a 2/1 legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle. Has Alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Either put a counter on Lita, make a food token, or scry 1. So just a 2-drop that keeps growing, gives you value, gives you card selection if you need it. Yeah, lost for your 2-mana card.
And again, we flipped on this one, so this was my 4 and your 3, so we both think this card's great. Definitely better earlier, and probably reaching its ceiling in red-white, because you will have more triggers on this. But just a great card, happy to play it. Even though it's a legend, probably happy with 2 of these in every deck.
Next up is Novel Nanchuku, which is 2 and a green for an equipment artifact. When it enters, you attach it to a creature you control. When you do, the equipped creature fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample, so stat boost before you fight. And the equip cost is 3. So just a nice removal spell, gives you a stat boost, helps you win the combat. Trample is a really good keyword for this kind of effect. Or just like, when you have a big green deck, just giving a big thing trample. And equip 3 that's a little bit pricey, but it's not crazy, and you're getting a lot on the other parts of the card.
We just saw Pitiless Fists in Lorwyn.
Right.
And I mean, this is a mana less for +1/+1 less, but is also an artifact and also can be moved around to other things. So it's probably even better than Pitiless Fists was.
Yeah, if not, very close.
Yeah, really good card. This was my 8 and your 7.
Next up on the list is Tainted Treats, which is 1 black-green for an instant. Destroy target artifact or creature. If its mana value was 4 or less, you make a food token. So 3 mana, unconditional removal spell. Can even hit artifacts if you care for that. And, most of the time, you're going to get a food off of it. So just kill a thing, make a food. That's a phenomenal card.
Yeah, so you were higher on this one. This was your 5 and my 10. Or sorry, your 6 and my 10. It's, I like, again, no complaints. I just think it's kind of... There's a lot of removal in this set. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and it's all pretty good, too. Like, one of the things that we noticed for lore when it was the removal was, it's fine, but outside of some premium uncommons, it was kind of like, all right, like, I'll take it or leave it. A lot of the removal in this set's actually pretty strong.
It feels like there's the same number of good removal spells in this set with the smaller card file.
Yeah, it could be.
So, like, percentage-wise, the number of efficient removal spells, I think is going to feel, like, pretty high.
Right. Which, kind of speaks to, like, with this being maybe a bit of a quicker set, and the removal being really good, maybe, where this is just our posit right now, this might put a lot of pressure on the cards that we always talk about, the expensive creatures with no enter the battlefield effect, which, to be fair, there's actually not a lot in this set. A lot of the expensive creatures just have good ETBs. So, just a little dynamic to keep an eye out for. Next one is Lessons from Life. This is 2 blue-green for a sorcery. Draw 3 cards, and then you can put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. 3 cards for 4 mana is a lot. That is a really good rate. And then putting a land into play is exactly what you want, right? After you've drawn a bunch of cards, you just want more mana, so you can cast those cards quickly. Card is really nice.
Yeah, you know what pairs nicely with lots of removal spells is card draw.
Card draw, hell yeah.
Although, are we talking at all about the art in this? I mean, for audio only, I apologize, but I don't know if I can let it pass by without being a word being said.
The self-referential, the Turtles are playing Magic the Gathering on a Magic the Gathering Ninja Turtles card. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm not a big, I watched a tiny bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would be shocked if this is canon, right? Like, this is...
Well, I do know they make a lot of real-world references. Like, they like reference animes, like they've referenced like One Piece and Naruto and stuff before, and so I think it's like in the same realm of like, oh, the Turtles are nerds at heart, and so they would probably play Magic. I don't know if they've actually played Magic in any actual canon material though.
There's also the conspiracy theory about the AI art on this? You heard about that or no?
I have, yeah. How the die is, it's not an actual representation of what a die would look like because basically the number of pips are wrong. Like they don't, or the die don't look like this. There's like a 1 next to a 4 or
No, it's,
whatever.
it's the 2 and the 5. It's the
The
2 and the
2 and the
5.
5.
Right.
Sorry, that 2 and the
Yeah.
5, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be just that maybe the artist isn't much of a gamer. I don't know, but nothing about this art inspires joy. So
Also, don't know who this little turtle is, but kind of like he just gives me the feeling of like a Make-A-Wish kid. The turtles are like, all right, we're gonna play with this kid. Like, I guess this is Lita, actually, one of the cards we saw before. Anyways, I hope this Make-A-Wish kid gets their wish. So, Mark's number 7 was Michelangelo Mutant BFF, which is 2 green for a 4/4 legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. Each creature you control with a counter on it can't be blocked by more than one creature, and when Michelangelo enters or attacks, create a mutagen token. So this card I actually think belongs on my list too. I just missed the whenever it attacks as well. I thought it was just entered. And I like this card. It just fell short on my list. I would also have put this on my list too. Really nice card.
yeah, you mentioned this is so I put all the cards that we both listed first, and then we have some differences. They're not exactly the 8, 9, 10, so I'll just clarify the numbers a little bit because I actually had this pretty high on my list. I had this up at number 5 for me, and again, yeah, just having an ETB, being well statted, the fact that the ETB helps enable its attack next turn as a like 5/5 that can't be multi-blocked, and then you keep
Right.
snowballing. Like this kind of passes all of the checks you're looking for on a 4-drop in the set for me.
Yeah, for sure. It just reads like a great card. Ray Fillet, Man Ray, is up next. This is 3 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer, legendary creature mutant. When he enters, you make a mutagen token, and you can pay 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control to draw a card. So, sort of turns your mutagen tokens into 3 mana clues in some weird ways.
Yeah, this was my number 7. It's honestly kind of similar to Michelangelo that we just saw.
Yeah, definitely.
It kind of, the 3/3 flyer for 4 is unexciting by itself, but is still like passing the vanilla test, and then it has the ETB and the ability. So do be careful. It is a legend. I mean, it is named, but it's not one of the main character names. So I'm always a little concerned in small sets of getting multiple legends, and you do really need to watch out for those here.
And then last one on Mark's side of the list is Death in the Family. This is 1 and a black for an instant. Exile target creature with mana value 3 or less. Just mega efficient removal spell. It is conditional, but it can trade up on mana still. You can trade you're on the draw. Your opponent goes, play my 3-drop. You go, okay, end of your turn. I kill your 3-drop or exile your 3-drop. That's a great exchange. Good start to a game. So yeah, just a good removal spell.
Yep, this was my number 9. Nothing to add. It's just efficient.
Going back to my side of things, so end of my list was a little bit different. I have the Last Ronin's Technique, which is 3 and a white for an instant. It has Sneak for 1 and a white. You make 3 1/1 white Ninja Turtle Spirit tokens, and if this spell's Sneak cost was paid, they enter tapped and attacking. So I just, like a lot of the stuff going on here, if you have to cast this for 4 mana, instant speed, make 3 tokens. Historically, 4 mana make 3 1/1s at sorcery speed has not been good, but adding instant speed onto it, I think adds a little something. I think that the fact that you get 3 tokens for your alliance cards, being able to sneak this in for 2 mana seems awesome. Do you like this a lot less than I do, or just like, was this on the outside looking in of your list?
Part of it is that somewhat lower on Sneak as a, like, maybe not compared to you, but just like compared to similar abilities we've seen in other sets in the past, just because it's a lot hard when you don't have the enablers. It like compounds how much worse it is. So if you don't have that critical mass of very cheap, like ideally 1 mana but maybe possibly 2 mana enablers, if you have to pick up something, even a 2-drop, like, which is still pretty good, but 3 or 4 drops, if you have to pick up a 4-drop to enable Sneak,
Not good.
it might even be like a bad play.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you really, like you said, it kind of compounds the cheaper the better in a lot of ways for the things you want to pick up.
Yeah, so I agree. Like instant does bump this up a bit. If there were more things that I was really excited about triggering alliance at instant speed, I'd be higher on this. But the fact that most of them are just like power that isn't really going to change. Because if you have 4 open mana into combat, your opponent's going to be suspicious of something anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think like the blowout potential is there. The best you can probably hope for is like your opponent attacks with a couple of X1s and then you like flash in blockers and kind of get the blow out that way.
Right. Next, I've got, this is the card I would have bumped off my list if I had read Michelangelo correctly the first time. So this is Spicy Oatmeal Pizza. Tuna red for a artifact food. When it enters, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to you. And you can sack it for 2 mana to gain 3 life. So just, it's a removal spell that, yes, dings you, but you can gain it back eventually. Going to the face is nice. Being an artifact that you can sacrifice to your artifact cards or just have on the battlefield for your artifact cards. Just like a nice trinkety removal spell, basically.
Yeah, so you had Last Ronin as your 6. This was your 8. And this one I need you to talk me up on this because I have this as like I think my current tier list has this as a D plus.
Wow, really? Yeah. I don't know. I think that's like obviously the 3 to you right away sucks, but I think that you make up for that by one, like deal 4 to the face is so much. Like that is a big chunk of life. And also all the synergy things that I just mentioned, right? Like it is an artifact. It is a food for, various things. Maybe you end up splashing this card in like your black-green deck to go fetch it off of. We'll see a card in a second that like goes and fetches a food from your deck. I don't know. I just think it's got enough little synergy things and the baseline of the card, well, maybe a little bit awkward and potentially more awkward than I'm imagining, I think isn't that bad.
I could see being too low. I'd be surprised if I was like that because we're talking probably like 3-4 grades or probably
Right.
3 grades ish difference on this, and because I mean, Bombard was instant and not impressive and did not require you to spend an extra 2 mana to be neutral. If you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. No, I don't think like 3 mana deal 4 to a creature is anything phenomenal. I am just giving it mostly the bump for the going to the face because I think that's a relevant, pretty big deal.
Okay, yeah. We'll have to see on this one, but yeah, this is one we have a fairly big disagreement on.
And the last one on my list is Ooze Spill, which is 1 blue for an instant counter target spell. You create a mutagen token. Just anytime you've got a 1 blue counter spell, a cancel variant, those kind of cards, they only need a little bit of a bump to be really good. I'm thinking Refute from Foundations. That was the one that like looted when you cast it. And I think giving a mutagen token is good enough upside to have it on this list.
The Saruman one from Lord of the Rings that made Amassed one as well.
Oh yeah, that was like a top uncommon. That card was busted. I think this card is worse than that one, but still pretty good.
Yeah, no, this if our list had been 11 cards long, this would have been my next card. So this one, I'm totally with you.
Cool. That's going to bring us to our next list. So that was the power uncommons, generically good. Now we're going to be talking about the synergy uncommons. These are the ones that are going to draw you into a certain deck, maybe a little bit less flexible early on in the draft than the cards that we talked about, but in some cases have a higher ceiling when you actually get there, when you have the deck for it. Anything to add to that before we just jump into the cards?
No, yeah, I think we'll just dive into the next 2 lists and
Great.
Having explained why you might pick this. So to be clear, these are still cards that you'll be relatively happy first picking. It's just understanding the differences. They require a little bit more work to get going.
Yep. First on the list here, number 1 is Casey Jones' Jury Rig Justiciar, which is 1 in a red for a 2/1 haste legendary creature. When it enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal an artifact card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So if you did play Lorwyn, this is kind of like an Eclipse creature in some ways. It can't hit a land, which is a big downgrade. That's really a relevant part of those cards. But digging for your card type that matters in your deck, you're going to draw a card off of this fairly frequently. In 2 mana, 2/1 haste, draw a card with selection. That sticks out to me as a great card.
Did the LCI one hit artifacts and pirates, was it?
Which one is that? I don't even remember.
I mean, I didn't play a ton of LCI, so I can't remember either.
Oh,
But I
it's
remember
like a
there was
1/2
a one in the
flyer.
blue one.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but that was also a great card.
Yeah, so that one not like hit a creature type, but didn't have haste. Not a legend, slightly different, but that was like one of the top uncommons in the set. Annoying that like some of your artifact cards are coming from mutagen tokens, so this isn't really going to work with. But I still think if you can get what's your number? Probably nine,
Yeah.
8, 9 artifacts. You're okay with this, and once you get to like 12 plus, it becomes very good.
Yeah, once you get to 8 or 9, that's like an acceptable hit rate. I don't know the exact math, but it's like 70% or something. And then, anywhere up from there, obviously you're a bit happier with it. Yeah, great card.
Yeah, this
Second,
was your number one and my number two.
second on the list is Courier of Consumables. This is 1 and a green for a 1/2. When it enters, you may search your library for a food card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And if you don't put a food card into your hand this way, you make a food token. So, how happy are you if you end up somehow with literal no food to grab with this card? 1/2 for 2 mana, make a food. Is that a card you're happy with still?
It's okay. Notably, it is comestibles, not consumables.
Oh, sorry, I just read that wrong.
That's okay. It's I think they're close to being synonyms if I understand the word properly. But yeah, I think you want something to get with this
Yeah.
to make it. I think it's highly cuttable if you have 0 targets to get.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And there are, we went through a bunch of them. There's the pizzas, the black, green, and gold card that we mentioned at the top of the show, Pizza Face. That's also a food, so you can grab that. So just tutor for a pretty strong card. Draw a pretty strong card is what this says on it.
Yeah, it also like the green trick, the +2/+2 trick is probably the most common target. And even though that'll be like face up, so they'll know you
Right.
have the trick in hand, I'm still pretty happy getting one of those.
Number 3 on the list is one of the blue red gold cards, Baxter Stockman. 3 blue red for a 3/3 legendary creature. When it enters, you make a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gets +3/+0 and gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn. Pretty nice. It's a little bit understated, right? You're getting 4 mana worth of stats for 5, but over 2 bodies and getting an immediate almost enter the battlefield effect that happens every combat kind of makes up for that.
Yeah, so this is the one that I mentioned that needs artifact creatures to really pop off. Because even though it does self-enable, you do want something to target the turn it comes into play. And although it's not great on defense, it does let you leave an additional creature back because it gives vigilance.
True.
So
Yeah.
it does still kind of help on defense as well. So the previous card, Courier, was your 2 and my number 3. Baxter is my 4 and your 6. So we both have it as one of the top uncommons.
Next card on the list is the other blue-red uncommon, Brilliance Unleashed. This is 4 blue-red for a sorcery. Choose one or both. It deals 5 damage to target creature. And the other option is you choose target artifact card in your graveyard, return to the battlefield if it's an artifact creature. Otherwise, it becomes a 3/3 artifact creature with flying. Man, looks like a sweet card.
Yeah, kind of back for more vibes.
Yeah, back for the black-green uncommon. Yeah, so like this is like we were talking about before. You kind of want to think about this, I think, as it's more a creature with an enter the battlefield effect than anything else. Like if you just think of this as a 3-mana, or sorry, a 6-mana 3/3 flyer that comes in and kills something, that's a phenomenal card.
Right. Yes, and that like it's not hard to have a artifact in your graveyard by turn 6.
Yeah, that would be pretty easy. Next card on our list.
Would you?
No, yeah.
Do you think you're going to be happier returning creatures or non-creatures with this? Probably non-creatures, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I guess usually if you're returning a creature, I guess you're not always going to have the option of creature or non-creature, but most of your creatures are probably worse than a 3/3 flyer and like a trinkety little artifact deck.
Well, also like the trinkety text would be like it probably has an ETB, so yeah,
Right.
There's some really going to be some really sweet targets for this. I'm just kind of thinking about it more and getting more excited because almost everything you return is going to have some additional way of getting value later.
Yeah, fully agree. Next on our list is Dream Beavers. This is a single black mana for a 1/1 flyer. When it enters, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life, and you scry 1. So this is just like the best, if not one of the best enablers for your sneak cards. Just, it's super cheap, good end to the battlefield effect. What's not to like?
Is this only a black-white card for you, or do you see black-green decks playing this too?
I mean, I don't think you want to play this card if you're not picking it up a few times. Like, to give a comparison, actually, in Spider-Man, the Pigeon, that card was not... It was okay in blue-white modified, but mostly it was like a white-green card that was doing similar things to Sneak. You want to pick up your cheap creatures. So, I mean, I think you could play it if you had some Sneak cards in your black-green deck, but I'm mostly seeing this as a black-white card.
Which is part of the reason why it's in the synergy instead of the power category.
Right.
But the reason I'm asking is because, like, Scry 1 goes a long way on making it passable, at least, if you're not picking it up.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's a little thing, we didn't mention this, there's a few other cards that are cheap in Scry when they enter. Those cards go a long way for your consistency of just being able to keep more hands, right? Like, any card that you can look at the top card or 2 of your library, say, hey, I'm keeping a 2-lander, I'm going to be much more likely to hit that 3. Or I'm keeping a 4-lander of this 1-drop, one of my best cards, but like I don't have a lot of action. Well, I'm guaranteeing a little more action. That goes a really long way. So any 1 or 2 drop with Scry is pretty nice. So yeah, you're right. You might play this in black-green sometimes.
Yeah, especially if you're in best of 3 land without the hand smoother.
Right.
Anything that like smooths your draws a bit has a little bit even more of a bump. So the last card, Brilliance, we both ranked in 5. Beavers, you were higher than me, which I can totally understand. That was your 4 and my 10.
We gotta shout out the Beavers when we can as good Canadian set reviewers. They don't come around very often. OTJ was the last one. Next up, we've got Genghis Frog. Good name. This is 2 mana, blue-green for a 1/3 legendary frog mutant. Has trample. When it or another mutant you control enters, you make a mutagen token.
So again, partly build around because it's blue-green already, but you really want to get another trigger off of this, right? Like a 3 mana 2/4 trample is not that... I mean, it's a little better than that because you can move it around. It makes an artifact, but I've looked a little bit at the support for mutants. You're not going to have like a deck with all of them, I think. I think most likely scenario is your deck is 40 to 60% mutants in blue-green.
Which is good still. Like that's
Yeah.
That's still a good number. There are actually quite a few mutants in blue-green.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was my 7 and your 8.
And then next we've got Leonardo, Leader in Blue, which is a single mana 2/1 legendary mutant ninja turtle. Has sneak for 3 white. When Leonardo enters, if his sneak cost was paid, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. And Leonardo also has the ability for 2 mana, 1 and a white, to give itself first strike until end of turn. So on turn 1, really good 1-drop. Gets in, attacks past the 2-drops, might even attack past some of the 3 mana cards that have low toughness, enables your sneak, and then, if you draw it later, you have this to sneak in as a finisher.
And part of the reason this is in the synergy is because I really do think you want to be going somewhat wide with this, although it's still a perfectly passable 1-drop.
Yeah, like in your red-white deck, you could play this card. It's not going to be, I think, as good as if you have... Well, the thing is, maybe in your red-white deck, you're just going wide enough that's like sneak is going to be pretty easy on some unblocked creature. So maybe this isn't even that big of a synergy. I think this is actually
better in red-white.
Yeah, you could be right. Maybe we have this on the wrong list. Maybe this is just a good uncommon.
I said you wanted to be going wide, assuming that was going to be like, this is more of a red-white card. Like I see. I guess in black-white, it's actually an enabler for sneak too, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was seeing, it's kind of funny. I was seeing this more as a black-white card. You're seeing this more as a red-white card. I guess our minds combined.
I was looking at the sneak ability, and I think you're looking more at the baseline. And I think you're right. I think this is just a good card.
Okay, well, stamp on Leonardo, get in the other list, but, good that we called it out.
we'll edit it in post.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we've got Kari's Technique, which is 1 black-white for a sorcery. Has sneak for just 2 mana, black-white. Choose one or both. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn.
Not only is this not my number 8, maybe this is a hot take, but I had put this as my number 1.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, that's kind of wild. So talk me up on this card. I like this card. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't scream like number one to me.
It might not be number 1. My thinking was, if you are black white, you are going to be the aggressive sneak deck. Like, I think that's going to be pretty standard. So if you're in a position where you don't have an attack, this gives you the attack, which is exactly what you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, the board's kind of clogged. I don't have an attack. I'm probably losing this game. I draw Karai's Technique, remove a blocker, pump something, get in. Like, all of a sudden, I'm back on the front foot again, and like swing the game completely. But where it's truly broken, like, if you have one more attacker than they have blockers, regardless of like what size any of those creatures are on the board, I think this card becomes a blowout.
Yeah, you just have like good attacks almost no matter what, unless it's just like an extremely clogged board.
Because
Yeah.
either they don't block, in which case they're taking a ton of damage and losing something, or they do block. And we've seen cards that like affect 2 combats underperform because it's like, well, they never really reach their full potential.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're playing a black-white sneak deck, you have to call, you have to block.
Right. Yeah,
So
puts you in a
any
spot.
position where they have to block and you have an extra attacker, like, it just ends the game for me. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, so many spots are going to be like, oh, if they have Karai, I guess that's how it's pronounced, Karai's Technique, like, I can't do anything. I have to just pretend like they don't have that card, because I can't beat that card in any spot. Yeah, no, you're right. I still wouldn't put it as number 1, but it's probably closer to the top of the list than I had initially thought.
Totally fair. I could see it being like 5 or 6 or whatever. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to play this and like have it guide me into white-black.
Next on the list here is General Trag, Heart of Stone. 3 red for a 4/3 trample. It's a legendary artifact creature. And when it enters, you can sacrifice another artifact. When you do, General Trog deals 4 damage to target creature. So this was on your list, but not mine. This is my attempt at talking it down on a little bit. We've had a card very similar to this. It was in Murders of Karlov Manor, Undercity Eliminator, which was 5 mana, 3/3, sack an artifact or creature, exile something. That card underperformed a little bit. It always felt like more of a cost to sack something than it might have seemed. Like, you would think, like, oh, if I'm sacking something pretty solid, or like, my 2-drop or a clue token or whatever, it felt like more of a cost than you would have liked. And so I kind of see the same thing going on here, but maybe there's more fodder in this set, and that makes the difference.
I'll flip the comparison script on you.
Okay.
To go back to Duskmourn.
Mm-hmm.
Duskmourn, I can't remember the name because it was filler level common, but it had a 4 and a red 4/4 that entered, sacked an enchantment or creature, and dealt 2 to something.
Yeah.
And that thing was totally reasonable in red-black. Like, perfectly happy to play them.
Yeah, I agree. It was fine.
So, this thing deals 4 and has 1 less toughness, but trample and types.
Yeah.
I think dealing 4 kills most 4-drops in the set. And if I can trade my mutagen or my food or whatever for a 4-drop, like, this is looking pretty good to me.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. Like, I don't feel super strong about this opinion. I just remember thinking about how underwhelmed I was by the Undercity Eliminator. So maybe I'm just too low on it. I don't want to draw too close of a comparison. And then the last card on Mark's side of things is Koya, Death from Above. This is 2 and away for a 2/1 flyer, legendary creature, mutant ninja bird. When Koya enters, exile up to 1 other target creature. At the beginning of your next end step, so that's this turn when you cast it, you may pay 3 and a black. If you don't, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Really cool design, actually. So basically, this is 3 mana, 2/1 flyer, blink something out for the turn. And it could be your stuff, too, if you enter the battlefield effect. Or 7 mana, effectively kill one of your opponent's things, or exile it.
Yeah, Trag was my 6, Koya is my 9. And this, I kept just bumping it up after realizing that it's just Flicker Wisp.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a 2-1 instead of a 3-1, but yeah, the
It,
comparison's there.
it's a 2-1, but it's only single pipped, and it has the like upside for 7 mana, which I don't
Yeah.
think is super relevant. Like I don't think that's going to come up a lot. But if your goal is to either again like get in a hit as white black, this does that. Re-trigger alliance, potentially for some slight upside. Re-trigger ETBs. Like part of the allure of Flicker Wisp is that it's kind of versatile in what it does. And I think this is going to be. This is kind of my hot take. I think this is going to be a surprising overperformer.
Also, just kills tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Like just straight up for 3 mana. Yeah. No, that this one I definitely could see coming around on. Just like talking through it even makes me like it a little more than I did initially.
Well, also just like a great thing to pick. Like we talked about not wanting to pick up 3 and 4 drops when you're sneaking, but when they have good ETBs, you're perfectly happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally true. So my side of things here. This first one I'm going to talk about, like the other two on my list here, I totally get not being on Mark's list. I'm actually really surprised this one wasn't on your top 10. So this is Splinter Hamato Yoshi. This is 1 in a black for a 1/3 legendary creature, mutant ninja rat. Has menace, so 2 mana, 1/3 menace. Has sneak for a single black mana, and other ninjas you control get +1/+1. That just seems so good to me.
Yeah, I how what percentage of your creatures do you think this pumps in a deck?
I would guess about half. Like both ninja and mutant are fairly common creature types in this set. Not that no, it doesn't pump mutants, but just in general, just as I went through the set, those are pretty prevalent creature types.
I'm pulling up Scryfall as we speak to just kind of do a gut check on this.
Yeah.
There's enough white ones, like 3 white commons, although there are all legendary. I just don't see this pumping enough creatures. Like there's not that many black. There's 2 commons, one of which is kind of mopey. 2 uncommons, a rare, and a mythic. I don't think it'll actually be 50% of your deck.
Well, so I guess two things. One, it's a black-white card, so I think you can kind of just count the white cards rather than the black cards.
Yeah. I'm assuming black white as well. Yeah.
Right, right. Two, like, does the fact that it's a smaller set not matter to some degree?
That's probably fair. Yeah, that's a reasonable point.
Yeah. I don't know. This
wasn't
seems like a very powerful card. And, like, just doing this in combat, like, you get to win combats as well. Like, that, I don't know. Seems nice.
And I guess it's also an enabler because it has menace too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this was close to making my list, and you're probably right. I should have put it on there. So I think you've talked me up sufficiently, but you had this as your number 3, and I don't think it's that high.
Yeah, I might be too hot on that, but yeah, I do still like the card. Next one for me was Pizza Face Gastronomer. So this is the green-black uncommon we talked about at the top. 3 black-green for a 2/4 legendary artifact creature, food mutant. When it enters, you make a food token, disappear. If at the end step, if something has left your side of the battlefield, put 3 counters on a creature or an artifact, and if that artifact was not a creature, it becomes a 0/0. So you could put the counters on the food token. And then 10 mana, tap sack, you gain 15 life. That part is not all that relevant. Will come up, in 10% of games or something. But I just like the fact that, this comes in, and I think you're going to enable disappear pretty commonly. Like, we were talking about how it's easier in this set than some other sets that have similar mechanics. So I am imagining, 75% of the time, you're going to get the trigger immediately. And if that's the case, this is like 5-7 worth of stats plus a food. That seems pretty good to me.
Oh, well, it's kind of plus the food, right? Because, like, if you
put it somewhere else, right? Like, you put
can.
it...
Like,
right,
sometimes
right.
If you're attacking with something to get the disappear and trading, then it's, like, just the 2/4 and the 3/3. Like, I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm also a little concerned that green-black is not, like, the attacking deck. So I think it'll be harder to trigger this on turn 5, but easy to trigger on turn 6.
Yeah, like with a mutagen token or something. Yeah. Also, just, worth just saying out loud, this is something that can happen every turn, right? You can get 3 power, like 3/3 worth of stats every single turn if it sticks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then my last one is the Neutrinos, which is the red, white, gold card, or one of them anyways. 2 red, white for a 2/4 flyer, legendary creature. Alliance, this gets +1/+0. And then when this attacks, exile up to target one target creature you own, return to the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. So that ability does a lot. It essentially gives all your creatures haste, or at least one creature per turn, right? You play your 5-drop, you blink it, it comes in, it tapped attacking. Resets into the battlefield effects, gets things unlocked from aura-based removal spells. Yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of what this card does.
Yeah, I'm interested to talk about this one. So these were your actual number 9s and 10 on your list.
Right.
The best case scenario for this is incredible, right? Like on turn 4, you play this, it survives, you go to turn 5, you play your 5-drop, maybe it has an ETB, you attack, you flicker it out, it's attacking, it has haste, you got your 4/4 flying neutrinos, like you're just stonewalling them and everything looks amazing. 2 downsides though. One's the obvious one, which is that obviously it's not great on defense. Like it's a 2/4, no ETB, no protection. Second one is if you don't have attacks on the ground with the other creatures, that second ability potentially doesn't do anything because it does force it to come in attacking.
Right.
So if you have, like, if you wanted to blink your 2/2 ETB with some kind of ability, but they have a 3/3, you can't get your extra alliance trigger and your ETB because you're just throwing your creature into the wolves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So,
has some downside.
Yeah, just wanted to mention those. Interesting card. Red white to me is a bit of a mystery. It's again a mix of go wide and go tall. But this thing, no pun intended, it does somewhat hit like a truck.
Yes. Like a 1960s convertible, apparently. We're going to the rares now, and we're doing same thing, top 10 list, and we also have some mythics at the end, just a top 3 list. But we'll start with the rares here. We were pretty similar in our opinions here, only one divergence at the end. We're gonna start with Agent Bishop, Man in Black. This is 2 in a white for a 1/2 legendary creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So these 3 mana creatures that kind of like give you a counter every turn are always great. They are very strong. And this one gives you 2. Now it's a little bit smaller than some of those cards. Those are usually 3/3s, but 2 counters a turn, holy. This thing just takes over so quick.
Well, you say it's a little bit smaller, but it can target itself, right?
For sure.
With one of them.
Yeah, so your 2-drop is now a 3/3. This is a 2/3. If they don't kill it, they probably lose.
We talked about White's commons briefly being a little bit mopey, but this was... So we have the same number 1 and 2, but reversed. This was my 1 and your 2. And the other card we're about to see is also a white rare. In a small set, I think you're going to get real sick of seeing these 2 rares.
And there's another 2 good rares later on the list, so in white. So yeah, I think white's rares are really busted.
Yeah.
Let's just go to the next one then. Sally Pride, Lioness Leader, 2 white for a 2/4 legendary creature, Cat Mutant Rebel. When it enters, you make X 2/2 mutant creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures you control. And when Sally attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Another busted card.
Just like one other creature, you're getting 6-8 worth of stats and the threat of like a must kill instantly or you die. Like both these cards are just busted good. Like A+ easily, both of them.
Yeah, she counts herself. By the way, if you have an empty board, you get a 2/2. Just, yeah, with herself. So just really, really good. Next up, we've got... Oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
If they can kill it with the ability on the stack, you do get
That's
away
true.
with nothing, but that's like, it's so rare that this card's insane.
Next up, we've got Krang and Shredder. So this is one of those ally-colored hybrid cards Mark called out earlier. 2, Dimir Hybrid for a 6/7 legendary creature. Utrom? Ninja, Human Ninja? I don't know the exact pronunciation of that one. This is, when it enters or attacks, each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card, and then disappear. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you can cast the card exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost. So you just get to If you can trigger like trade off in combat, play this on 6, you get a free card off your opponent's library plus your 6/7 creature, and then threatening to do it every turn after that.
Yeah, there's slight depending on how easy it's going to be to trigger disappear, but I think again as a potential black-white deck where we just talked about they kind of have to block. Easier to trigger in black-white than blue-green, if like to kind of look at the two spectrums maybe, or blue-red maybe. But either way, great card, potential for repeated, like huge for its stats as well. This was my 3 and your 4.
Next up, we've got Turncoat Kunoichi, which is 2 and a white for a 3/2 Mutant Ninja. It's got Sneak for 2 white-black. When this creature enters, choose target creature an opponent controls, exile that creature until this creature leaves the battlefield. If the Sneak cost was paid instead, you just exile that creature straight up for good. Cool design, by the way.
Yeah, and you're happy to play this in any white deck, right?
For sure. Just like 3 mana, 3/2 comes in, exile something till that leaves. Like that's a great card.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you could sneak it, busted, but very good as a white card. This was my 4 and your 5.
Leader's Talent is up next. This is a class. So the class enchantments are back. 1 and a white to just play it. And the first ability is whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. So that's already great. Second level for 3 mana to level it up. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had a counter on it, you gain 2 life. Okay, it's, fine, whatever. Third level for 3 and a white. Whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
We had a bit of a difference here. This was my 9 and your 3. First ability, I'm all with you. It's great. Second ability seems kind of a bit of a do nothing for that much mana. And then third ability seems like if you have both that much mana and a board and more spells to cast, like I think it's just win more.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's win more. I think it's more like it's not super likely the opponent's going to have great blocks with this on the battlefield in the first place. But if they do manage to cobble together good blocks, or they kill a few key threats, or left with just some small stuff, this just threatens to win still, right? Like there's no window closing. Like with these kind of cards, sometimes there's like a window where it's like, okay, if they can put up enough blockers, I can't continually get an attack. But there's no downside of that. Like you can just spend some mana if you're, obviously your opponent in the meantime can start pressuring you. But then your board just gets awesome.
That's true. And then also the fact that you still have the first level of this class means they still have to respect, like they can't just kind of start attacking you and pressuring you. So it also, I guess, prolongs the game to allow you to go there. So you're probably right on this. I think I'm a little too low.
Next up, we've got Leatherhead Swampstalker, which is 2 green for a 5/4 trample. Legendary creature, Crocodile Mutant. It enters with a hexproof counter on it. And when Leatherhead deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a counter from her. If you do, destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Which, you'll do if there's a nice thing to blow up, but 5/4 trample hexproof is also just a hell of a stat line.
Yep, that's it has the protection. It's for 4 mana, but it has the stats, it has the abilities, it has the protection, and it's potentially a 2-for-1. So checks all the boxes. This was my 6 and your 7.
Next up, we've got Mikey and Dawn Party Planners. This is 2 Simic Hybrid for a 3/3 legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. Has Ward 2. Love seeing that. You can look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast mutant, ninja, or turtle spells from the top of your library. If you cast a creature spell this way, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And so we were kind of going back and forth like, oh, how many ninjas, how many mutants? When you tie in mutants and ninjas and turtles, that is, I don't have the exact numbers, but it's got to be more than 75% of the set.
Well, a lot of those are overlapping, right?
Oh, sure, that is fair, but they're like, there's a lot of just mutants, a lot of I think you're right about that, but I don't think I'm too far off.
Yeah, no, I just want, I just say if you're counting raw numbers, like
I got you,
You open Arena and be like, oh my god, my mutant count, my ninja count, plus my turtle count is so high. Like, a lot of them are because they're all
sure.
free.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
But yeah, this is not that unlikely to functionally draw you an extra card and a half between like land plus spell a lot of turns, and has protection and gives you the information and is like not that badly statted and is easy to cast. Like some of these rares, they've pushed the bar for what a good rare is a little too far for me, in my opinion.
In this set, you mean?
Just like, in general, like there's too many rares now where it's just like A level, must answer immediately or you lose the game. Like I've mentioned this on many of our set reviews. I like the B plus level rares instead of the A's.
Yeah, I no disagreements. Next up, we've got April O'Neil Hacktivist, which is 3 and a blue for a 1/5 legendary creature. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card for each card type among spells you've cast this turn, which of course includes April. So immediately she will draw you a card when you play her on turn 4.
Yeah, kind of similar to the last card, and it's just like they're both Sonar-esque.
Sonar, yeah, exactly from Lorwyn. Yeah, very if it sticks, it wins.
But again, like this one triggers immediately. The other one has wards, so there's even some potential additional upside there.
And then next on the list is Krang Mastermind. This is 6 blue for a 1/4 legendary artifact, and has affinity for artifacts, so costs 1 less for each artifact you control. When Krang enters, if you have fewer than 4 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Krang gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Lots of cards, like 4 cards is a lot of cards, and this is a 5th card, so this can be a 5 for 1.
So nice as a curve topper.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be, like, you don't have to be empty-handed for this, though.
No, you can draw 2. Like, you feel pretty good if this is like a 4/4 draw 2, right?
Right, which is only like, if you have 3 artifacts, it's like 5 mana, not that hard to do.
Right.
So yeah, I think this thing's pretty easy to enable, and I wouldn't be surprised if this snuck into a number of cubes too. Like it seems like it's got the juice there.
Yeah, I'm no modern expert, but I could even I wouldn't be surprised if this sees play in some other constructed formats on the fringe. Next up, we've got our disagreements here. So this is the last part of the list at slot 10. Talk me up on Rat King, which is 1 and a black for a 1/1 legendary creature. Has disappear. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your controller's turn, you create a 1/1 rat token and you put a counter on Rat King. And then you can tap it, sack 3 rats, return target creature card and all other cards of the same name as that card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I don't hate this card or anything. It just wasn't on my top 10. I just feel like it's a little, like, not a good term to play. And then by the time you, like, play it and activate it, or play it and get the disappear trigger, okay, you got a 2/2 and a 1/1. I mean, that's fine for 2 mana. That's good for 2 mana. I don't want to talk that down too much. It just doesn't strike me as top 10 material. That's all.
Yeah, I have low confidence in this one.
Yeah.
I do think, like, as soon as you get your first rat, it's kind of free to attack that rat in the next turn, right? Like,
and they just keep growing?
Because they either block it and it dies, and then you just make another one and get a counter on this, or you can potentially, like, sneak it in and again get the trigger and kind of pop off there. So I'm not so looking at the bottom line with the sack 3 rats thing, but like a snowbally 2-drop just always has my attention.
It's also kind of funny that I guess it is better in a small set. That last ability, right? Return all creatures of the same name, because you're more likely to have cards of the same name in a small set.
That's true.
My pick for top 10 is Kitsune Dragon's Daughter, which is 4 blue for a 6/6 legend. Has vigilance, and when it enters or deals combat damage to a player, you may exchange control of 2 other target creatures controlled by different players. So you get to swap your worst thing for their best thing. That effect tends to be fringe at best. We saw it in, Aether Drift. That was like a 5 mana sorcerer that had cycling that did that. It was okay. We've seen it from time to time, and it's just like not quite good enough. I think adding a 6/6 body makes it good enough, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and talk you down on this one. This was close to my list as well, and that's a lot of, like, if they have anything that answers this size wise, all of a sudden they don't. So, like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, of course, there's the upside of doing it multiple times, but I think once you're going to be happy with it. Okay, and then very last thing here, we've got 3 mythics. We did want to shout out the mythics because we didn't do it in the rare section. Dare I say this is going to be the best card in the set? I'm pretty sure. The Last Ronin. This is 4 black-green for a mythic saga. First chapter, destroy all creatures. Great. Second chapter, mill 4 cards. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Third chapter, whenever a creature you control attacks alone this turn, put 3 1/1 counters on it. It gains trample, lifelink, and indestructible until end of turn.
I think it's going to be pretty. Like, I had this as an A plus. We have the same top 3 for the mythics, by the way.
Yeah.
To be determined if the 2 white rares are going to surpass this. I could see either of those being better than this. But yeah, like, this is whatever, it's Sozin.
Rise of Sozin from Avatar. Very similar to that card.
Very similar type of card where it gives you the Wrath, it gives you a threat with some selection, and then it turns it into like a game-winning bomb. So,
yeah,
great card.
Next up on the list is a really cool card, actually. Northwind Avatar, 2 blue, red for a 5/5 flyer. When it enters, if you cast it, you can put a card you own from outside the game into your hand, which is, of course, your sideboard. And it's kind of weird. It's, I would say better, well, definitely right, better than draw a card, because you can either choose land or spell. You can put lands in your sideboard, you can grab them from your sideboard, and it's kind of strange, because obviously you're not going to be grabbing the best card in the world, because, you know, those are likely in your deck, but it's sort of like learning if you played Strixhaven, where it's like, yes, you might have some clunky-ish cards in the sideboard, maybe a destroy target artifact, maybe a clunky removal spell, maybe just a giant body, and you wouldn't love drawing those cards naturally, but when you can tutor for them at whatever relevant points, you know, whatever point of the game you're in, you're like, oh, I would love that clunky removal spell, or I would love that kind of just big beater. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say that when you are getting your card, it's almost like drawing the 3rd best card in your deck at that point. Like, if that kind of makes sense. Because, like, your deck, when you play this 5-drop, 40-ish% of it is lands, and a bunch of them are also, like, cheap 1, 2, and 3 drops that are not, like, it might be efficiently costed, but when you have 5 mana already, that doesn't matter as much as getting something high impact.
Right.
So just having, like, being able to get a junky land cycler or whatever, like, there's land cyclers in multiple colors, that's going to be better than almost every card in your main deck at that point, because you already have the 5 lands in play to deploy it.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, more expensive cards are more powerful, but we don't always like them because sometimes you don't have all that mana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last one here is Triceraton Commander. XX white for a 2/2 flyer. When it attacks, dinosaurs you control other than this creature get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. And when it enters, you make X 2/2 white dinosaur creature tokens. And so basically it's 4 mana, this thing plus a 2/2 token, 6 mana, this thing plus 2 2/2s. Just like all great stuff.
Notably, just to provide some context, I think this card's good, but I think it's worse than all 10 of the rares that we just looked at.
Yeah, I would maybe say worse than the top, or the top 6 or 7. I think it's probably better than the lower part of the list.
Either way, so part of the reason I just mentioned that is usually I prefer it when the best cards in the set are the mythics that you see less often.
I see. Yeah.
In this set, the truly oppressive, like, oh my god, I'm playing this card for the 5th time this week, roll your head, eyes in the back of your head cards are rares that you're going to see fairly frequently. So
right.
Another, I mean, not to end on a negative, I think I've enjoyed this, despite maybe not looking forward to the set as much as I would like. But I do think that the rares will be a problem in this set, and I expect to get sick of them before week 3.
Yeah, I know that there's some folks that have said, they've come to me and said, I'm playing in an RCQ, and it's turtles. What do I do? Like, well, I am putting out some content for it. Good luck in those. And I truly do hope, by the way, that we are, like, I don't want to be overly negative about just, like, before we play with the cards. Like I said, I actually think a lot of the cards are cool in this set. But at the same time, I do think this will be generally a worse experience than a full size set. And really, that is the bulk of the problem here. It's not the card designs. It's that small sets inherently have problems in the draft. Seeing the same cards over and over again. It's just something that even the best designed cards in the world, if you put them in a small set, it's not gonna feel as good if they were just in a normal size set.
I could see this actually being a decent sealed format.
Yeah, potentially.
Again, there's not a lot of gold, or there's no gold rares. There's some gold mythics, but like all the hybrid cards and the fact that it's not typal, which really like limits your lanes, there could be a lot of interesting ways of building some sealed pools for this. So just we'll end on a high note and maybe be optimistic about one aspect of the set at least.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate you, number one, suggesting that we do it this way, and number two, of course, joining me. And like we said at the top, let us know if you liked the way that we did this. If I know a lot of people are just being like, I'm playing Slay the Spire 2 because that comes out very soon for Ninja Turtles. I'll see you back in Strixhaven. That is absolutely fine. We'll see you then. But if you are planning to play the set and, future small sets, let us know if this was helpful for you. Let us know if you want any tweaks. And if you made it this far, do check out the Limited Level Ups Patreon. Links to that in the description. Patreon.com/Limited Level Ups. Helps out the show if you want to support it. And we'll just leave it at there. Mark, any last words?
No, thanks again for having me. And, if someone this ends up being their favorite set of all time, don't let us hold you back.
Exactly.
Do your thing and go forth and conquer. So best of luck to anyone playing in any events. And we'll see you next time.